now that we have proven that ageLOC works, in other words, that transformation system was the proof of concept that this approach is not theoretical. It actually translates to meaningful clinical benefits in tissues, okay? Now we're going to take ageLOC inside. And strategically, what we want to make sure is that when we take the ageLOC technology, if you will, and incorporate that into a supplement that people will be taking, that truly it will also provide the same kind of benefits. Now on different tissues in addition to the skin. So we've been working, frankly, I mean, it took us more than a year to be able to launch this product in Americas and also in Japan. These are the two major markets getting this so-called vitality product. It took us more than a year to get to where we are today. And we've always felt that, and there is a lot of scientific validation of this belief, and that is the first signs or the early signs of aging always appear to be related to a loss of energy. More importantly, actually, and more broadly, is a loss of vitality. You know, somehow we just feel as we get older that we feel tired more easily. We get tired in the late afternoons. We seem to be a little bit less ability to focus mentally, you know, physically. We just don't feel as much energy as we had when we woke up in the morning. So that's the type of vitality that we are talking about. So we have been focusing on that, and we now know that loss of vitality or the decrease in vitality is very much related to a cellular structure that we call mitochondria. Unfortunately, that's the scientific word to describe this particular cellular structure. It exists in every cell in our body. But what is fascinating about this mitochondria is the fact that it functions as like a cellular battery, okay? It provides the energy for every cell in the body and tissue, and if this battery runs down, you have a loss of vitality. So we know that we have to focus on the mitochondria. But we say, well, yes, now that we know what the target is, how does one affect and preserve this cellular battery life, if you will? And we find that we can do it at the genetic level because, once again, from our ongoing studies and over the last 12 months, we have learned that there are roughly 370 genes in each cell that control the mitochondria energy production level. That is now become the internal youth gene cluster. So it is the mitochondria youth gene cluster that we have identified, and we are now targeting, we have screened, we have successfully created a blend of ingredients that will affect these genes in a positive way and thereby be able to preserve mitochondria function. The Vitality, the ageLOC Vitality product coming out in October is actually suitable for everybody. Okay, and it's not meant for old people and so on, because our tests and our studies show that everybody, even as young as a 20-year-old, will get some benefits out of it. And the Vitality product addresses or improves 3 types of vitality. And that would be physical vitality, as I mentioned to you, the fatigue area, if you will. And then the second one would be mental vitality, and that would be the grogginess that all of us feel in the late afternoon and so on. With this Vitality product, we feel that would be somewhat reduced. And once again, this illustrates the power of ageLOC, is that through our studies now, while we were testing this blend of ingredients that we put into the Vitality product, we came out with an accidental finding. Is like serendipity. We found that it's not just physical and mental vitality that we can improve, we can also have a positive impact on sexual vitality. No way am I representing that the vitality product on this third component is anything like you're going to get a Viagra-like benefit. It's more about libido. It's more about making sure that you remain vital, in that area as well. So, and I think it's not male-centric or female-centric. It's unisex. From our studies, when we were looking at the genetic level, what we found is that when we looked, there was a very profound effect on genes that are responsible for making what we call pheromones. Okay? And from science, we do know that all of us secrete some sort of pheromones that we don't detect ourselves, but the members of the opposite sex will immediately recognize that increased level of pheromones. And that is how, all the things, and that's how, sort of the two sexes come together, is that without you knowing it, at certain stages, you are actually secreting a pheromone. So by activating these genes responsible for pheromone production, you can imagine that we were pretty excited why we think that sexual vitality is also the third outcome of using the vitality product. I mean, all the things that we were talking about in terms of looking at these genes, in the lab, we have a method. The challenge we have is that those methods that we use to measure gene activity in the lab, they're very expensive, okay? And they're very involved, and it takes a long time to get the results out. So, but the technology is available, so we are in the process of refining that technology to a level where perhaps sometime in the future, 12 months from now or thereabouts, by the end of 2011, we are able to offer some kind of a service for people to look at, use gene clusters before and after a product. You can imagine, if you come with me on this journey and dream with me a little bit, what I'm saying with ageLOC is based on the fact that we have the potential really to ageLOC and transform the whole Pharmanex product line. And so it's just a matter of where and how and what we need to do, because there's so many things the sky's the limit with ageLOC technology. And every month we are coming out with new, discoveries surrounding and relating to these genes. So in 12 months after October, for example, now that we've taken care of vitality being the first signs of aging, we can resolve that. Then we can look at other signs of aging, related to the eyes. As you all know, clearly we know that eyesight is another area that we should be looking at over time with the ageLOC technology. And bones, particularly with women, there's bone loss once you get into the menopausal phase of their lives. So that's another important area for us to look at. So there are many areas that we can go into. But the key here is to make sure that for the listeners on this call and for all our distributors and leaders to appreciate and truly grab this vision, and that is ageLOC is about addressing the sources of aging at the genetic level. And we have the exclusive knowledge and the ability to identify these sources of aging that we call youth gene clusters. Nobody else can do that. Most competitors are doing it with one gene, which they claim is responsible for all aspects of aging process. That would be stretching the imagination a bit much. We believe that, there are multiple genes that we have to affect.